Good morning, everyone. I am thrilled to have Shira back, and no one deserves to be professionally videotaped more than Shira. How many of you have seen Shira before? All right, more than half of you. So I'll keep the introduction very short. Shira, as was just said, gives back to the community so much. Purposeful Hire is the name of her company, and she certainly gives with purpose. And she is not only just a career coach and a recruiter, but she has such a deep understanding of what people want from a coach and a recruiter, but also from life. And I cannot recommend what you do for us and what you do for the community any deeper. And 40 plus, we so appreciate you coming back. So, 40 plus. Thank you. Appreciate your parents.
Good morning. Good morning. Yes, it is a chilly one, isn't it? Finally. El Nino notwithstanding. So, I have a question. When I say the word brand, what definitions come to mind? Call them out.
Nike.
Okay. Companies, great. Definitions of brand.
Trademark.
Trademark.
Steers. Steers.
Steers. Okay. Nice. That's great. I love branding. What else?
Label.
Label.
Values.
Values. Interesting. We're going to talk about that. What else?
Promise.
Promise. Okay. So actually, you guys, I paid you in advance, right, to say this. What I like to say, a good definition of a brand is the promise of value. Is that good? So when you see this brand, what's the promise of value? What are they promising you? We know what this company is. I don't even have to say the name. We know who this is. What's their promise of value?
Unique technology.
Unique technology.
Innovative.
Innovative. Right? Creating things you wouldn't think actually could even be created. Right? What about this one? What's their promise of value?
Shoes.
Shoes. Yeah, that too. Customer service, right? We all know about customer service with this company. And what about this company?
Healthy.
Healthy, right? Environmentally sound.
Toothpaste.
Yeah, toothpaste.
That's what I think. I think
you think toothpaste, but really what they're trying to do is they're trying to say beyond the products, they're trying to offer value that is unique to the kind of customers that they want to serve. Now, would you agree with me that all of these companies, and any other company really that you can think of, especially ones that have reputable brands, in order for them to showcase their value, they have to know who they're serving? Would you agree that these three companies kind of have different kinds of clientele? The people who are shopping for Nordstrom, right? Or even let's say if I had the Kmart label up here, okay? Both good companies. Pretty different clientele, right? They're trying to serve a different market. They have to know what their unique value is. And I would like to suggest that each one of you as job seekers, whether you are looking for a full-time job or whether you're looking for a consulting gig, it doesn't matter. You are Janine Inc. You are Leah Inc. You are Giovanni Inc. Why would I say that? Because like these companies, you need to know who you're serving. Hello? I'm being very intentional in how I'm saying this. Who you're serving. Who are you targeting? What are the unique challenges facing that target audience? And what is your unique value? Those three things. Only then can you think about what your personal brand is. Okay? Now, I don't normally read from slides. Most of us don't. But I'm actually going to read this to you. Is that okay? I want to talk you through this very interesting quote. I think it's going to be really helpful to unpack it. So let's talk about a personal brand. We just talked about a corporate brand. Let's talk about a personal brand. Personal branding is a way of clarifying and communicating what makes you read this? Different and special. And using those qualities to guide your career or business decisions. It's about understanding your unique attributes, your strengths, values, passions, and using them to separate yourself from your competitors or peers. In this sense, personal branding means clearly communicating the what? Unique promise of value that you have to offer your employer or your clients. How many of us actually know what our unique value is? I'd say not very many of us. Why? Because we sort of go through life, we go through our careers, we kind of go through the motions. We have these skills, and people kind of hire us, and they promote us based upon the skills that we have, and we kind of go through that little proverbial rat race, and then all of a sudden we find that we're in transition, and we're like, well, I don't know. What's my value? What has been my value? And especially if you've been in transition for any length of time, that can come into question too. You're like, well, what really is my value? And especially in the market that we have now, which is so risk averse, right? Come on, this economy, and everybody's looking for that purple squirrel, that one-eyed unicorn, somebody with 12 out of 10 skills. I say this a lot because it's very, very true. It can make every one of us feel like, well, what is my unique value? Because I'm not the purple squirrel that they're looking for. And the reason is that so many of us in this job market have taken a reactive approach to the job search. Can I just say that again? So many people have taken a reactive approach to the job search rather than a proactive one. Apple and Nordstrom and Tom's of Maine would never have become the brands that they are if they took a reactive approach to their branding. Come on. Hello? Haven't they had to be proactive? Haven't they had to figure out their unique value and showcase it in a way that people can hear it? And they've done it in all kinds of ways. Now, of course, a for-profit company is a little different than any of us sitting here and how the channels that they've used, commercials and so forth, but it doesn't matter. They've used branding channels to be very, very proactive and intentional in reaching the people that they need to reach. Is this making sense? Okay, there's a parallel here. So I want to talk about defining your brand. Now this concept, these two concepts that I'm going to put up here, you will see, if anybody's heard me before, I use these two concepts a lot. If you are watching this and are seeing the other YouTube videos that I have out there, you'll see these concepts over and over because they're a really great way to start the framing of the discussion of your brand. And the first thing is, what is your tribe? Now I'm going to spend a little bit of time here because every time I do this, I always get questions. Well, say it again, what does that really mean? Let me explain it really clearly. I have absconded two words from the English language, okay? And I have repurposed them. The first is a tribe, okay? The word tribe. And in my mind, please take notes here. This is a great time to really get this because it'll really, really help you. A tribe is either an industry or a mission with which you are strongly connected. Let me make sure that I'm really clear in this. An industry or a mission with which you are strongly connected. Now I'm just going to name out a handful, okay? And I'm going to name out ones that are here in the DC area, but if you're watching across the nation or the world, you pick one that's for yourself. The nonprofit sector, right, is a tribe. Now, of course, that's not just the nonprofit sector. How many sub-tribes do we have in the nonprofit sector? Lots and lots, countless, countless and countless. I mean, we could subdivide that all the way down. We can say, well, there's the nonprofit sector, well, there's the folks who want to save the environment, and then there's the folks who want to save the wildlife, and there's the, do you know what I'm saying? We can go down that way. We can do the same thing with corporate America, okay? Well, sure, that's corporate, for-profit companies are a big tribe, but then we've got commercial real estate. Well, you don't just have commercial real estate, you've got property management, you've got leasing, you've got land development. Do you see what I mean? You could have a big tribe, you could have sub-tribes. Why am I mentioning this? Because some of you, not all of you, some of you really, really have a strong connection with a tribe. And why is that important? Because that can absolutely become the brand upon which you hang your hat. So I'll give you an example for myself. I like to make things personal when I can. So of the sectors that I serve, I strongly serve the trade association community. Okay, and anybody in DC knows there's an association for everything. Yes, there is. When I saw that there was an association for the people who make wooden pallets, I then knew there was an association for everything. There really is. And so, truly there is. And so I serve that sector, I serve that tribe. So, here in a context like this, you guys know that I do a lot of different things. But when I am with the trade association community, okay, I put a particular hat on usually, and that's my recruiting hat. And people know that I'm, quote unquote, an association search consultant, an association recruiter. Why is that important? Because it's distinctive from other kinds of recruiters. I don't want to be all things to all people. Hello? Listening? I don't want to be all things. I want to show people I'm a specialist, and I know this community. Now, I always pick on my friend Ken here because he's part of that community, right? So Ken, would you agree that there's a certain lingo and language that we have in the association world,
Absolutely.
okay? So if I were to talk membership, recruitment, retention, and engagement, you would obviously know what I'm talking about. Probably most people in the room wouldn't, right? Because it's a thing. And would you agree, every tribe has its own language. Every physical tribe does in the world, right, culturally, but every tribe does within corporate, right? If you're in government contracting, if you're in real estate and healthcare, right, you have your own lingo. And you can brand yourself and become what we call a SME, a subject matter expert, based upon your understanding of how to talk the language of your fellow tribesmen, if you will. Is this making sense? Okay? But you have to understand, do you have a tribe? Now, I'm not saying that everybody does, because there are a lot of people who don't. There are some people who focus on their lane. Again, I've repurposed this word. A lane, in my world, is your, either you can call it your career field, or you might just call it your occupation. Your occupation. So for example, there are some people who have a lane that absolutely do not have a tribe. So for instance, take accountants. Most accountants don't have a tribe, right? Would you say most accountants are cross-tribal? They can kind of serve most types of sectors. Marketing professionals often are cross-tribal. Human resources professionals, do you know what I mean? Public relations professionals, writers, right? Cross-tribal. You can, right? So that's fine. It's fine if you don't have a tribe. But it might be that your brand is your unique value in how you do your lane. I'll give you an example. So I know of a client who's a public relations professional, okay? And she's been one for many years, as I'm sure all of you have been in your fields for many years. And because of that, she has a point of view on how public relations should and should not be done. Okay, she's not a recent grad, you know what I'm saying? She's done it for long enough where she kind of has a perspective on things. So she's the type of person, in fact, I wrote a LinkedIn summary for her that addressed this, and by the way, you'll see, your LinkedIn summary is a fabulous way to showcase your brand, okay? And one of the opening lines, as I wrote on her behalf, I said, public relations, this is like her concept, public relations is about constituent relations. In other words, she's trying to say that PR should not be about, quote unquote, putting lipstick on a pig, you know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be just right, it shouldn't be about glossing over. It should really be about engaging with your stakeholders. And we did a whole summary about her professional heart. Does this make sense? Okay? So it's really sort of showing that in her lane, she's not tribal, but in her lane, she has a very unique slice of the pie, and she has something to say. Now, break this down, go fast forward to the interview. It's you, and it's 4 other people. It's a blind race, right? We know that's an interview. You have no idea who your competitors are. And you're sitting there, and you're like, okay, well, thinking to yourself, I'm here, there are probably 4 other candidates that have been sitting in this chair. I'm qualified, they're all qualified. What makes me special? Think about that. Think about that. From a resume perspective, you probably are all similarly qualified, only one of you is going to get the job. Right? So if you think about your skills, right? Well, sure, I'm qualified, but what makes me different? What's that added value that I'm going to bring? And then, oh, by the way, how am I going to uniquely add value to that particular employer? So for instance, if you go back to those other companies, sure, Apple is known for innovation and all of those things. But don't you know, when they're doing their branding and their commercials and what have you, they've got certain target audiences that they're focused on, right? They're not necessarily focused toward the 85-year-old. They're probably focused a little more toward the 25-year-old. And when they do their brand, they do their commercials, the music that they choose, the visuals that they choose, aren't they trying to target and show specifically how their product, their new widget, right, is going to make your life better if you're in this segment, in this demographic? It's the same thing. They have to start with knowing who their value is, which is the innovation, but then they have to target their brand specifically to the audience. It's the same thing with you. It's one thing to know, generally speaking, what your value is. It's an entirely different thing to match that up in the interview and show that employer, hey, you're looking for this. Here are your challenges. By the way, you have to ask good questions to know what those challenges are, right? Ask those questions and then be able to align who you naturally are and what you bring to the table to meet their needs. Is this making sense? Okay. So here's another framework for how to think about your brand. So I talk about the tribe. Another way to think of your tribe is who you serve. It's a good way to think about it, right? Who am I serving? Notice I keep using the word serving. I believe, and as Giovanni mentioned, the name of my company is Purposeful Hire. My tagline is, for every hire, there is a higher purpose. And I believe that very strongly in my heart. And I believe that every person who works should be working to serve. Yes, we make money. Yes, we have all these other little, sort of perks that go along with it. But at the end of the day, we're serving. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay. How you serve is your lane, right? Who you serve is your tribe. How you serve is your lane. It's the way in which you serve. Now, again, remember, even if you don't have a tribe, like in terms of an actual sector, you're still serving somebody, okay? Whatever that company is, okay? Why you serve is your value. I say why, because your value is not necessarily sort of the intrinsic attributes. It comes from a heartfelt place. Your value comes from the desire to serve. So, for example, I believe, and I have, we can all talk about our unique gifts and how we serve. But in my particular case, I'm a connector. Most people know that. Like I'm just born that way. Any connectors in the room? Right? You know what I'm saying? We can't help ourselves. We have to make, right? We wake up in the morning, we have to make connections between people. And we love it, don't we? Right? It just comes from a very deep, authentic place. And it has a lot to do with my why, because I want to see fruit come out of relationships of people that I connect. Right, connectors? Don't we do this? And you could, whatever your values are, whatever your gifts are, maybe you're a builder, or maybe you're, a thought leader, whatever you are, but you're going to have a value. You're going to have a why in there. You've got to tap into that. And then in what way you serve, those are your qualities. Okay? How are you doing this? Well, are your qualities that you're the most efficient person in the world? Are you the most creative? Are you the most strategic? I mean, are you the best project manager? I mean, your qualities and being able to move a project along from start to finish is really you've got to think about what are your qualities. Okay? So again, it's who you serve, it's how you serve, it's why you serve, and it's in what way you serve.